Hello, hello, it's Patty Joe, and we're gonna try one more since it's such a cold day. I hope everybody's staying warm. Let's watch another. Oh, this is gonna be a hearing. We just witnessed him abusing another one of his victims, questioning another one of the witnesses. And so now we've got, I guess, a little bit of a hearing. So let's see what is going on here. So right now the jury's going out. Look at him looking at them with his dumb mask on. Like, I don't know how you guys felt about the masks. I was kind of like 50-50 on caring about the masks. Um, it was required as a paramedic. In fact, at the very beginning of it, when they said that eye protection was, I should bring my, I should bring the stuff they gave us. They had these stupid goggles, and I'm like, we are gonna look so stupid. But in my line of work, when you work for the fire department, when you're a paramedic, you are not there for any kind of beauty shot. So, if they wanted me to wear a clown nose, I really didn't care. I'll put the clown nose on. I don't care. It's part of the SOPs. I tried to follow the SOPs best I could, and I was successful most of the time and unsuccessful some of the time, and very much watched every single time I was unsuccessful. But that's a long story why. But everybody does the best they can. But he's the only one wearing this. This is what last year was. We're already at the end of this process. Wearing a mask was not a thing. I think we all got kind of used to the requirements in private businesses wearing them, and so you kind of felt a little uncomfortable wearing a mask. There's actually something I want to cover. It was a young man who I may have covered out, I'm not sure, who was walking home from a convenience store, and he had a hat and a mask on, and this was before COVID, and so he looked sketchy, and they actually, I believe, oh, he was the ketamine guy. Yeah, they actually, he actually did make it. So, before all of COVID, but he just looks like he's hiding something. I don't know what you guys think of that. Let's see what this hearing's about, though. He listening? He's trying to listen to the prosecution's whispering, yeah. Which they're allowed to do.
All right, thank you. Be
Look at him.
seated.
Look at him, look at him, look at him.
Mr. Brooks, I cut you off when you were asking questions about what this witness had seen on the news. I'll give you an opportunity to give me an offer of proof as to why you believe that's relevant, and specifically as to this witness.
It's relevant because of how close he testified to being away from the vehicle. He testified to being 20 yards away from the vehicle, which is not super close, but it's
20 yards is quite a ways. I don't know, maybe to a young man like that guy was, it's not that far. But 20 yards, think about football field, okay? And they fight to get 10 yards, and 20 yards is a good distance. So you may or may not be able to see. It's quick. How fast is it moving? Or what are you actually looking at? What is your focus? His focus was on his child, so he probably wasn't even looking, really. So how can Darrell, dictate what this guy's looking at and what he sees with his eyes? He's arguing semantics. He's trying to force people into his own semantics. It's so narcissistic. It's disgusting.
It's not far enough that you
Not
wouldn't be able
very.
to see a driver or see into the car.
Well, that's an argument, sir. So what questions would you have that you didn't already ask, and why, how does the news reports relate to that?
Maybe he may have seen the alleged defendant on the news, and maybe that may jog his memory back to if he seen the driver.
Why would you want him to see? I'm sorry, didn't I promise I wouldn't yell? You complete little fool. You are like the court jester. You should have been required to wear the funny hat with the ball on the end. You seriously want this guy to remember seeing you? Numbskull.
But he testified he didn't see the driver. So
He
I'm
also
not really-
testified.
Which
he also
helps you.
Testified to never making the comment that he didn't remember the event, but it's clearly in his summary and in his report that he said that.
He
so
didn't
it's
say that.
conflicting.
He didn't say
his,
that.
His report is conflicting with what he's testifying. So I was trying to get at the credibility of it. That was my whole aim.
What does the news reports have to do with that, sir?
The news reports are relevant just by the sheer amount of reporting that they've been report. This has been going on for a year.
Okay. God, he's a twit. Okay. Darrell. He didn't say that he didn't remember. The person writing the report wrote, maybe that was an observation, that there were clear gaps in his recall of the events. You know, like, did he turn around? Did he not? How could he have been hit facing this way if he had turned around to see the car coming? I mean, there are clear gaps in this guy's memory. I will say that. And called situational amnesia, I believe is, I don't think that's a credible term, but it's what I would call it. They have gaps around the situation. If you're in a car wreck and you see a car coming at you, a lot of times that's the last thing you remember seeing, even though you were awake and alert for the whole thing, but you don't remember seeing anything else because everything else you see is so devastating to your brain that your brain shuts it out. So for the situation, they may not have, but those are not his words. And the fact that he didn't see the driver, that actually helps Darrell. That actually, not very much, because a billion other people saw him, but it does help that this particular person can't identify him. So why would you want to jog his memory to identify him? So he's trying to say that this guy's not credible because somebody else said that some of this, you know, that he couldn't give 1,000 details about being run over by a car. That doesn't make him not credible in my eyes. And apparently in the prosecution's eyes, because they didn't even like go back and redirect on any of the questions, because nothing Darrell raised was at all anything worthwhile. But you can't say, okay, so if he said he did identify Darrell, then saying, well, maybe you were influenced by the news reports, that would be a legal argument. But I'm not seeing a legal argument. That this is a double negative legal, which I'm not surprised. This is Darrell. What an
That
idiot.
assumes facts, not an evidence, sir. So this witness did not identify you during this trial. This witness testified as to his observations regarding the date in question, his injuries, and other things surrounding what he saw and heard and what he didn't see and hear. So the news reports don't have any bearing on his credibility. The points that you bring up are arguments that you may make if you choose during your closing arguments. But the questions you were asking.
So in other words, he can suggest that this guy's testimony shouldn't have a lot of weight, although I don't think he's going to get very far with that particular argument because, dude, you ran him over.
don't further that.
She's
hearing.
helping him. She's
So that's why I
advising
cut
him.
you off, because there was not anything that you were connecting by way of relevance.
With all due respect, Your Honor, a lot of the questions I ask are objected to. It seems like I
Yeah.
can't even get to the questions that need to be answered.
Sir, many of your questions
Are
go to
stupid.
these sovereign ideas that are frivolous arguments about the plaintiff and all of that. We give you a little bit of leeway. I give you a little bit of leeway on it. But to ask about a claim, because frankly, it's a vague question, and many of these victims may in fact have made a claim with crime victim compensation. And so I think that's potentially relevant. But you may be asking it for a different purpose. I'm allowing it probably for a different purpose than you're anticipating. But the questions about the state and the plaintiff, other than when you talk about and you ask questions about who subpoenaed them, have they reviewed anything in preparation for their testimony, those are all fair game. But other questions are not, and that's why there's an objection, and that's why I rule the way that I do. So ask relevant questions, they'll be answered. So I don't see any need for this witness to be brought back in. I don't believe that witness was on
In other words,
Mr.
cut him off.
Brooks's list, so that witness is excused. Who's the next witness?
With all respect, on the record, Your Honor.
I've asked a question of the state. Let them answer, please.
Will I be able
Mr.
to
Brooks,
bring
let
up-
them answer. Hold on.
So the next witness that we had intended on calling is Detective Mike Carpenter with the Waukesha Police Department, who would provide testimony about his conducting the speed analysis of the vehicle. I don't expect that we'd be able to get through direct. Well, we might be able to get through direct.
I'd like to at least have him start. I want to go closer to the lunch hour today.
So the other issue is that we thought we were going to be breaking for lunch, so he's not in the building right now. We have another witness who is ready, who we could call out of order, but that would be moving into a new topic, a new group along the parade route. So we're fine with whatever the court wants to do.
I'd like to keep going, so I'll defer to you on which witness to call.
And Your Honor, I would just note, I don't believe I asked for it, maybe I did. Jeff Rogers, I know he has remained in the courtroom, he is a victim. Is he excused from his subpoena? He was not an individual who we were provided a subpoena for by Mr. Brooks.
He's excused.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring the jury back out and you may
On
call.
the record before you bring the jury.
Quickly, Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to questions I asked and being, you said something to the effect of sovereign things. I don't understand what you mean by that.
Here's my flag for that one. BS. I think I'd have that up above my face most of the time. Which would probably be good for everybody.
I have no anticipation on your rulings.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
do.
trying to sit here and I got enough work to do on the fly. I'm definitely not trying to sit here and trying to anticipate what will be objected to, what will be ruled on in any way.
You should,
I'm merely just.
because you're looking
It
stupid.
was understood that this would be a whole new thing for me to do. I apologize if I'm not as polished as I should be. Working on 3 days.
You know what?
time
Honestly,
before trial.
shut up. No, nobody actually would expect a layperson defending themselves to be polished or understand the law, and maybe more questions would be objected to, and those would be sustained objections rather than overruled ones. But when every single time you ask that stupid question, it gets rejected, objected to, and then sustained or completely rejected every single time, and it's been multiple times now, get a clue, dude. get a clue, and you know exactly what you're doing because you got this information from some numbskull somewhere. You certainly didn't come up with it on your own because the 20 years of criminal behavior that you have been exhibiting for all this time in multiple states, you have taken pleas. These sovereign people don't do that. They fight tooth and nail until they're dragged out of the courtroom like a bunch of fools.
We see all the work that I have
Oh,
that I haven't
oh.
been going through.
So
Mr. Brooks,
what?
the jury's coming back in.
Nobody cares, Darrell. Nobody cares.
For the record, I don't consent to that name, and I
Oh,
don't
okay, yeah.
consent to the arguments that the
Sovereign.
prosecution made. There
Sovereign.
are relevant questions, as the jury deserves
Mr.
to
Brooks,
know.
please.
Sovereign.
The jury deserves to know who the plaintiff is in this matter. I think it's fair to them if they're to make an informed and intelligent decision. They should know who the
She's just going to
plaintiff
tell
is.
them to disregard, and they are already, thank goodness, disregarding this nonsense.
So your objections noted for the record.
Ask for a legal finding of fact on
No.
that, Your Honor. Or is that a judicial determination, Your Honor?
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. All right, the state may call its next witness, please.
So I guess they're going to call the guy out of order. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. They have so much evidence. And the state's biggest problem in this is keeping their evidence organized.
All right. Good morning. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Alyssa Gajewski, ALYSSA GAJEWSKI.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ms. Gajewski, how old are you?
23.
Do you have any familiarity with a group called the Extreme Dance Group?
Yes.
How do you know that group?
I used to coach there
How long were you a coach for the Extreme Dance Group?
about 4 years.
Can you tell us the time frame where that took place?
Yeah, so probably around 2018 to early 2022.
Where's that dance group headquartered? Where do you hold your practices?
It was at, it's 404 Travis Lane. I don't know WAUKESHA, so I don't know what road it's off of.
Okay, but it's in Waukesha?
Yes.
All right. And in general, what cities or municipalities did the dancers come from?
WAUKESHA.
What were the approximate age ranges of the girls that you instructed at Extreme?
Just myself.
Oh.
The girls who were dancers, how old were they?
So we started at Itty Bitty, which was about 2-ish, and then my team was the oldest, so we went up to 8th grade.
What do you call your team?
13.
So my team was called the Elite Team,
And what's the approximate age range of those girls?
6 to 8, 8th grade.
And you mentioned Itty Bitty was about 2, right?
About 2 to 3.
Are there any
wanna
groups
say.
between those?
Yeah, so it's Itty Bitty, and then the tiny group, and then the mini group, and then the juniors, and then the elite.
And it's a continuum of age from Itty Bitty all the way up to the elite?
Yes.
I want to direct your attention to Sunday afternoon, November 21st of 2021. Was your group, the Extreme Dance Group, marching in the Waukesha Christmas Parade that day?
Yes.
And were you present with the group?
Yes.
Were there any other instructors or coaches there?
Yeah, there was just one other,
And who was that?
Jamie Sutton.
Do you remember approximately how many from your dance group were present?
I had about 12. Jamie might have had around 10. Minnie's was around 4, maybe. Tiny's 4, and itty bitties, I'm not sure, because they were just in like strollers and stuff with their parents.
When you
So
marched in
over
the
30.
parade, were you in a specific formation?
Yes, we were.
And how were the different age groups organized in that formation?
So at the front, it would start oldest, and then it would go to youngest. So it would be elite, juniors, minis, tiny, and then the itty bitties with their parents.
Was there a vehicle or a float associated with your group in the parade?
Yeah, there was a truck.
What kind of truck?
It was,
Pickup truck?
yes, yeah.
What's the objection? What's the objection? That she didn't know what a truck was? She's kind of a young girl. Leave her alone.
What's the
Jeez.
objection? Her answer may stand. I'll instruct the state to avoid leading questions.
About how many times did you make it through your routine during that parade?
Irrelevant.
I don't recall.
Was there a certain point when your dancers stopped dancing?
Irrelevant?
You may answer.
Yes. It looks really bad for you, Darrell, but yes, there was a time when her dancers stopped dancing, when they were all run over and their little bodies were mangled by a stupid idiot in a red SUV. And I hate it when they say that the SUV came through. Darrell came through. The driver came through. The SUV is an inanimate object. It can't do anything without a driver operating it. All of this was Darrell's fault.
Yeah, they did stop dancing.
Why?
Because there was a car that drove through.
I just punched Darrell in the face.
There's also water. You may open one of those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Kajewski, we're going to put up on the screen for you Exhibit 15. And with the court's permission, this has been received already.
She's already
I'd ask to
crying.
publish to the jury as well.
Oh, my God.
Do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Oh
Do
my
you
God.
see a green box with names in it with the label WAUKESHA Extreme Dance?
Holy cow. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Half their group, roughly, from what she described, because she describes about 30 people, not including the parents, ish, 10, the first group 12, 10, 4, and another couple, and then the little ones, right?
Underneath?
Yes.
Do you recognize the names in that green box?
Yes.
You see a black line connecting that green box to a yellow star?
Yes.
Okay, and here at the bottom where that says all 4 of these being related children, this person's these children's mother, the person who will be testifying eventually for Darrell, for the defense, he calls her, against the prosecution's strong, not even objection. She's trying to actually guide him that there's no relevant testimony there for him or them, neither one. that's useful to anybody because it's redundant. They're all from the same family. All of these children, probably they were all but they are very badly injured. Specifically, this one here, the little boy, and it's devastating, like critical injuries. So let's tie that in, where he comes back to this. Look at all four of those little names.
We scroll down a little bit. Do you recognize the neighborhood in this map?
Kinda, it's downtown.
Downtown Waukesha?
Yeah.
The yellow star that's connected to the Waukesha Extreme Dance names, is that an approximate area where you described the car hitting the girls?
Yeah, right before the 5 points.
Okay, we can take that down, thank you.
Now let's traumatize her some more. Oh, the state's fault. I get she's a witness.
I'm going to ask that we project onto the screen for the witness only, exhibit number 33. Let me know when you see the screen in front of you.
This is hard for her.
I see it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to just take as much time as you need, read all those names, and then describe for me what we're looking at.
It's the formation that the girls were in.
On the day of the parade?
Yes.
And does that accurately represent where each of those girls were in formation?
Yes.
And you've reviewed a diagram similar to this before your testimony, right?
Yes.
I would move exhibit 33 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
Before I allow that, if you could ask her about the non-labeled boxes.
Sure. You can see that there are some boxes on this diagram that don't have names in them, is that right?
Correct.
What do those boxes represent?
Who wasn't injured?
So, but those are people? Those are
yes.
members of the dance group?
Yes.
But to your knowledge, a box without a name is a person who wasn't hit.
Yes.
Okay. I'll renew my request at this point.
Objection. How is it legal to instruct the prosecution to ask a question that they should already know to ask?
X.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 33 is received and permission to publish is granted.
Okay. So, liar lines. It's not a legal objection, I'm thinking. It's more of an interruption and him asking for legal advice. Like, how can the judge tell them? She's basically, all she did was ask for more foundation before she admitted it into evidence and published it to the jury. In other words, the whole thing needed to have foundation before it could be evidence. That's what I'm hearing, because I'm no lawyer, so anybody who knows more, please chime in.
Okay, can you, Ms. Kajewski, can you explain for us what the color?
So basically what they were trying to say is the ones with the names, these are people injured, and these are people in the formation who were not injured, I'm guessing. Let's see what she has to say.
What does mean in this exhibit?
So they're each different team. So the yellow is the elite team, the green is the junior team, and the blue is the mini team. And there is 2 teams behind that, but they didn't have a formation. And that's why only these 3 are on here.
Okay. You testified earlier that you were marching in order of age, so the elites were in the front of the group, right?
Yes.
So the parade route, if we were moving forward, it would be the bottom of this page, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we project for the witness only, exhibit number 32, please.
Go ahead.
Let me know when you see something on your screen.
I see it.
Okay, we're going to play just a few seconds of this to see if you recognize it. Okay, we'll pause there. We played 19 seconds. Do you recognize this video?
Not this video.
Okay. Do you recognize the truck
Yes.
at this point that we've stopped at?
Yep.
At 19 seconds?
Yeah.
What's the truck?
That's the truck that we had for Extreme.
During the Christmas parade?
Yes.
Did you recognize the people in front of the truck holding the banner?
Objection. Witness stated she doesn't recognize the video. How is it permitted?
Your objection's noted, it's overruled.
He gets mad when they've seen the video before. He gets mad when they haven't seen the video before. Maybe they haven't shown her the video when they were interviewing her, so that they could see if she would be a witness that needed to be presenting evidence.
She may answer the question.
Could you say the question again?
Did you recognize the two people holding the banner in front of the truck?
She's
Yes.
describing what's in the video.
Were they affiliated with your group?
Yes.
Let's play a few more seconds just for the witness. Pause there. Pause at 27 seconds. Did you recognize the people coming into the screen from the left?
Yes.
Who are they?
Our dancers.
Okay. Does this video appear to be an accurate depiction of your group along the parade route during the WAUKESHA Christmas parade?
Yeah.
You may answer.
Yes.
I move to admit exhibit number 32 and ask for permission to publish.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Did you sustain that objection?
I didn't rule on it. Which objection?
That I just objected to?
It was overruled.
Are you making that decision now?
There's been a request by the state to receive Exhibit 32, Mr. Brooks.
I objected.
All right, then your objection's noted. It's overruled.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
Exhibit 32 is received. The foundation has been laid, and permission to publish is granted.
Thank you.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
It's relevant.
Speaks for itself.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
You may play.
There's no audio with this video. We're going to play from the beginning.
How long is the video for the record?
It's 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Thank you.
Pause, please. We've paused at the 35-second mark. Ms. Kaczewski, do you remember what you were wearing on your head, if anything at all, that day?
Yeah, I had a bright red hat on.
Do you see yourself in this at the 35-second mark of this video?
Yes.
Can you? That's a touch screen in front of you. Can you use your finger and circle yourself? Okay. And we can clear that, please, Madam Clerk. And we'll resume at the 35-second mark.
Get her nose flaring. She's having difficulty. Her eyes are dilated. She's having difficulty. she is showing signs of an adrenaline response right now. Her nose flaring to let more oxygen in, her eyes dilating so that she can see more, let more light in. She is actually reliving this. I'm surprised that she's held it up this well so far.
And we can take that down now. Thank you. So, Ms. Kajewski, let me just clarify. What did we see at the end of that video? You can take some time.
A car going through the parade.
Is that the same vehicle that you remember seeing that day?
Yes.
Do you recall where you were standing at the point that the vehicle started to go through your girls in relation to the rest of the group?
Yeah, in relation to the rest of the group, I was on the side that was with all the names, but I don't remember like what stores I was by.
If you were standing in the middle of your group, were you on the left side or the right side?
Overruled, she may answer.
Which way are you looking?
If you're walking down the parade route.
I'm looking towards the truck.
Yep.
I would be on the left side.
And you were towards the front
Yes.
by the elite girls?
Yes.
Okay.
Look at his dead eyes.
I'm now going to ask that we put up for the witness only exhibit number 34. And before we get into questions about this exhibit, I'll go back and ask you about the video we just looked at, exhibit 32.
Didn't he look like a predator right there?
After
I don't know,
having watched
go
that
back
video
and
just now in court,
It's scary to me.
does it appear as though that diagram with the names that we looked at, exhibit 33, does it appear as though that diagram was an accurate depiction of where the named girls were positioned at the time the SUV came into the group?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's the objection?
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Okay. So
You may
now,
answer.
I
Yes.
believe the end. Okay. So now we'll put up exhibit 34 for the witness, please. We're just going to play a few seconds to see if you recognize this. Let's do a few more seconds. Okay. Do you recognize this video?
Not the video, but
Do you recognize images from the video?
it's
Actually, hearsay.
Overruled. You may continue answering.
She does not understand what
I
he
turned it
means.
off for the witness,
oh
till they can finish.
okay.
Okay. I think we've got the rotation figured out
Okay.
here. We're going to play 5 or 10 seconds again for you just to see if you recognize the video. Okay. Now do you recognize the video?
Yeah.
What does it show?
The car going through and someone
Is
flying.
that an accurate depiction of the scene as you saw it that day?
Mm-hmm.
Hearsay. She already stated she didn't recognize the video.
Shut
This
up,
characterizes
Darrell.
her testimony. Your objection's overruled. It is not hearsay. You may answer. And if you did answer, if you could just repeat it.
Could you?
Is that video an accurate depiction of the scene as you saw it unfold that day?
Yes.
Your answer may stand. Thank you.
What was the answer?
Yes.
Move exhibit 34 into evidence and request permission to publish.
He's He is like a predator. He is like a shark. Even his eyes just blacked over. He knows that she is nervous. He's such a narcissist. He knows she is nervous, and he is interrupting enough to make her forget even what's happening a second before. So he can see that she is struggling, and he's going to go back and make that seem like it's her fault, or like she's not telling the truth. What a monster.
Exhibit 34 has received permission to publish.
This is almost as bad as when, he ran over Cindy Lou Who here.
This is a 50-second clip. We're not going to play the whole thing. We're going to play from the beginning to about 12 seconds. We're going to turn the audio on.
That sounds like her.
We've paused
Is that her
at 12
yelling?
seconds. I'm going to ask that we go back to the beginning,
Oh, that gives me chills. Oh my god.
slow it down to 30% speed. And we've turned the audio off. We're going to watch that save 12 seconds again. Pause. And I'm going to ask Ms. Gussie to go frame by frame. We paused at 1 second, by the way. Next frame. Next frame. One more. There. We're at a frame at 2 seconds. There's a figure on the bottom, on the left side of the screen, appears to be wearing black with long hair. You recognize that person?
Yes.
Can you see any features
Mr.
in
Bucks,
there?
that's argumentative. Your objection's noted. It's overruled. You may answer.
Hearsay. Objection for
Not
hearsay.
hearsay. You may answer.
Clear hearsay.
You may answer.
Yes.
Who is that person we're looking at?
Jesselyn.
Can you use the touchscreen in front of you and circle that picture? Circle Jesselyn, please. I'd ask to save the annotation as Exhibit 34A and to move it into evidence.
The annotation has been saved. Exhibit 34A is received.
Ms. Kajewski, when you say Jesselyn, are you referring to Jesselyn Torres?
Yes.
She was a member of your dance group?
Yeah, she was on the junior team.
We can take that down. I'm going to ask that we play Exhibit 35 just for the witness. And this is just 8 seconds long, so we'll play the whole thing to see if you recognize it, okay?
Yeah.
Do you recognize that video?
Yes.
What does it show?
The car going through.
Through your dance group?
Yes.
Is that an accurate video depicting the events that day?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 35 into evidence and request permission to publish.
Objection.
Exhibit 35 is received permission to publish. Granted, your objection is noted for the record.
Again, this is 8 seconds long. We're going to turn the audio on for this video.
Objection still. Is the video, who even took the video? Is it relevant?
Sir, it's not an objection, it's a statement.
Thank
you.
you.
Can ask questions later.
Not even a witness that took.
What?
Go
What do
ahead.
you
So
say?
Judge, before we begin, I have to step in here and request that Mr. Brooks be instructed to stop making comments under his breath.
His facial expressions, especially here, and his making comments under his breath, and the constant, like the interruption with the statement instead of an actual objection, which we know he knows how to make an objection and then pick the wrong reason why, which is, usually, but at least it's in the format of an objection. He knows how to do this. He is priming up to bully her. He has very little regard for women, misogynistic narcissist that he is. I'm going to have such a long string of names for him, totally unsubstantiated other than my opinion. But he does not hold women in very high regard. I think very wisely, that is why the prosecution, when there's a female or when there is a female with some weakness around the events, and not to say that this lady is weak, she is a very strong lady, but she is very emotionally still like raw about this, which gives him like so many inlets to bully her. And he's already started the process. Look at his face. Ugh, he's so ugly. So
This
ugly.
witness is very clearly having an
Inside and
emotional
out, you
difficult
are
time
ugly.
testifying, and she doesn't need to hear that.
Thank you.
Judge,
Thank
you
you.
can't hear anything I'm saying.
Mr. Brooks, the mics are very good in this courtroom, so please refrain. All right, keep going.
Thank you. So we will begin at the beginning of this video. We'll play the whole thing with audio.
Oh God, another audio. We have to hear it. That actually sounds like her. No wonder she's.
To the extent that there are comments on this video, those comments are not being offered. I would instruct the jury to disregard
Thank
those
you.
in terms of the evidence. It's the video that's important.
See, we could even hear Witch House say something. Couldn't hear what it was, but.
For the courtroom, actually. Exhibit 33, the diagram again. And we'd ask to publish for the jury.
Go ahead.
Can we zoom in on the top of the screen here? So, Ms. Kajewski, I'd like to work our way through this name by name, based on
Oh, my
your
God.
recollection of what you saw during the parade that day, okay? So let's start with the first person on the top right, Vivian Urell. You knew Vivian Urell before November 21st, right?
Yes.
And do you recall seeing her either while the SUV was driving through or after?
Objection, hearsay.
It's not hearsay. Overruled.
I saw her after, not during, because I was in the front.
Can you describe the circumstances when you saw her after?
Objection, hearsay.
Mr. Brooks, I'm going to direct your attention to review section 908.01. You have a statute book. Please do that. It's not hearsay. All right, go ahead.
Could you repeat the question?
See how that's bullying? Do you see how he is bullying her already? He is interrupting. He is usurping the stage she should have to be able to answer the question posed. She's trying to get her off balance. He is just despicable.
Can you describe the circumstances of how you saw her and where afterwards?
Yeah, she was on the opposite side of the road, just like in a fetal position.
Did you have any interaction with her?
Yeah, I did. I went in a squad car with her to the hospital.
Oh my God.
Which hospital?
I think it's called WAUKESHA Memorial.
Here in WAUKESHA?
Yep.
Okay. And did you observe any injuries to her?
Yeah, she had road rash on her chin.
Next, I want to ask you about Mackenzie Hollingsworth, the first top right green square there. Did you see her as the SUV was coming through?
I didn't see her as the SUV. I
What-
saw her at the hospital.
WAUKESHA Memorial?
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what she looked
Sorry, was that a yes? You just said,
Oh.
was that a yes?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. That's okay.
Can you describe how she looked at the hospital?
Yeah, she was laying on the ground, and her mom was on her left side of her, and I was on her right, and I was holding her hand, trying to get her to squeeze my hand so she could like stay awake. But she was going in and out of consciousness. She was asleep, and then she would wake up sobbing, and it would just repeat.
That's not
I
good.
next want to ask you about Alice Urell, so the next green square down on that diagram. Did you see her as the SUV drove through?
I didn't see like her get hit because it was just a blur, but I saw her body on the ground right after, and she's the one that the first person I saw.
Okay. And did you have any interaction with her after the fact?
Yeah, I picked her up as soon as her body was right in front of me. I just picked her up because I didn't know what was about to happen.
What did you think had happened at that point?
I didn't know. I didn't know if there was going to be just a bunch of cars. So I just wanted to get her out of the way.
You've already testified about Jesselyn Torres. The Jesselyn Torres who's named in a green square there, is that the same Jesselyn Torres that you referenced when we watched Exhibit 34?
Yes.
Moving down the diagram, I'll ask you about Yuretsi Becerra Montes. You recognize that name?
Yes.
Did you see Yuretsi as the SUV came through the group?
I saw her after.
Where did you see her?
Behind the truck on the ground.
Which truck?
The same truck that was driving in front of all the girls.
That black pickup truck?
Yeah.
How close to the truck was she?
At the tailgate.
Was anybody else with her?
Yeah, her, I remember seeing her dad and her sister.
How did she appear to you in that moment? Health-wise?
Just in shock.
So, some of these girls who were hit and mangled by the monster driving through in his mom's car, because he doesn't have his own, their parents were right there and ran to their aid or walked with them or in some way were witness. The Urell kids, their mom wasn't in that vicinity at that point. We'll find out later, especially when she testifies, which is a rough one. But
Moving down the list to Julie Schlickow.
that's amazing to watch that.
Julia Schlickow, excuse me. Did you see Julia as the SUV was driving through the group?
I didn't see her as the SUV came through. I saw her at the hospital.
At WAUKESHA Memorial.
Yes.
How did she appear to you when you saw her at WAUKESHA Memorial?
She wasn't good.
Can you take a little bit of time and then tell us in a little bit more detail?
I was with Kenzie at the time, and at WAUKESHA Memorial there's a glass, like, wall window, and I saw Julia in a wheelchair by herself with, like, nurses around her, and she was kind of slunched over. She was in and out of consciousness as well, and so I ran over to her and told them her name, and they rushed her in the back because she was not doing well. And then when we got to the back, she started seizing and vomiting.
And you saw this while you were with Kenzie, as you said?
I saw Julia when I was with Kenzie, and then I left and went with Julia, and then we went in the back.
What she's describing is a severe head injury at this point. And I just know Darrell is going to pick this apart because she was in a wheelchair, and, you know, maybe that doesn't mean it was that bad. That's bad. She's in bad shape. I would be shocked if the girl she's talking about didn't go to an ICU somewhere and maybe even still has some neurological damage based on that level of injury.
Back to a room, and that's when she started seizing and puking.
And just so we can keep the name straight, who's Kenzie?
Mackenzie Hollingsworth.
So moving further down the diagram towards the front, Sam Coelho. You recognize that name?
Yes.
Did you see Sam as the SUV went through the group?
I didn't see her with the SUV.
What about afterwards?
I didn't see her at the hospital either that night.
Okay. Do you remember providing a
She needs to take a drink of water. She does. Look at her.
written statement with Detective Mandy Schwartz from the Waukesha Sheriff's Department shortly after this incident?
Yes.
I would ask that we project that statement for the witness only.
Go ahead.
We can go down to page 4, please.
This will need to be marked for identification. What would be your next number?
Believe 149, please.
All right, will be marked exhibit 149.
Ms. Kuchewski, do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Let's scroll down a little further. All right, just to yourself silently, I'd like you to read from where it says saw another to the words so fast. Just read that silently. Let me know when you're done.
Mm-hmm. I'm done.
Okay. Do you remember writing that or approving that written statement when you met with Detective Schwartz?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember now?
Hold on, you take that. We'll take that down.
Yeah, we can take that down, please. Sorry. Do you remember now talking about what happened to Sam?
I didn't see Sam. I only saw her dad.
Okay. And you didn't see her in the hospital afterwards?
Not that night, no.
Did you see her in the days following this incident?
Overruled. Answer.
Yeah, as soon as the day she was able to have a visitor, I was there.
When you say visitor, what do you mean? Where was she?
Overruled.
She was at Children's.
Oh, God.
Children's Hospital?
Yeah.
Do you know why she was there?
They moved her there just due to her injuries.
And you know she was injured as a result of what?
Overruled. She may answer as to what her knowledge of the injuries were.
Yeah, she was there because she was struck.
You put Exhibit 33 back up for the jury and the witness, please.
I'm sorry, 30?
33, please, the
33,
diagram.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Kuchewski, there's two remaining names there on the diagram, Isabella Bartelt and Maddie Hollingsworth. Did you see either of them as the SUV went through the group?
I did not.
Did you see either of them in the immediate aftermath?
I did not.
Based on their position in that diagram and your review of the video evidence here in court, how would you describe their position in relation to the red SUV that went through the group?
If you're looking at the SUV, they were just to the left of it.
Okay. Do you know whether they were actually struck by the SUV?
I do not.
But based on their positioning, they would have been how close to the SUV in your best estimate?
Just a couple feet.
You're not able to give an accurate estimate about how fast the SUV was traveling at that point, is that right?
I could.
Okay.
Good.
Well, please, if you think you can, please tell us how fast do you think it was traveling?
I thought around 55.
Wow.
The black truck that
Oh, that's fast.
was part of your group, right?
Probably from her
That
perspective,
was
yeah.
about the approximate speed of the rest of the parade?
Yeah.
And was the red SUV traveling faster than the black truck?
Yes.
He did a good job qualifying that, because that probably is exaggerated in her memory or in her estimation. She's a young girl, probably not as much driving experience as, say, some of the officers making estimates. She probably felt like it was like zooming so fast, because in perspective to a vehicle going 1 to 2 miles an hour with a parade pace, that probably to her looked like it. So he did a great job qualifying that, Zach Wichel did, in my estimation.
That's all I have for direct examination, Your Honor.
All right, then we'll break for lunch. We'll
Okay.
continue with cross-examination after the lunch hour. Please rise for the jury.
That gives her a break. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break here too, because I don't know. I think I'm just going to need a quick second before we take a look at what Darrell does. But thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. And stay warm this week, because it's super cold everywhere. And see you later. Patty Jo.